We have some bad news, Animorphs fans. You all know that there is an Animorphs movie on the way. Or at least, there was. Michael Grant and Catherine Applegate have taken themselves out of involvement with the Picture Start Animorphs movie, which they suspect to be scheduled for around 2022 to 2023. This is, on the face of it, bad news, for a number of reasons. Michael and Catherine are very much about the fans. They love the fans and they express this all the time. If you're on Twitter and you follow Catherine Applegate or Michael Grant, they interact with their fans a whole bunch. They're always addressing their fans. They love their fans, essentially, and they will do their best for the fan community. They have taken themselves out of the involvement with Picture Start to make the Animorphs film, and Michael came forward with the reasoning for this. He said that they weren't being involved in some key decisions. And because of that, they didn't feel like they could justify being involved anymore. I remember off the top of my head what I think he said. Something along the lines of, we're not going to pretend to have been involved when we haven't really been. So they've withdrawn themselves from these discussions in bringing Animorphs to the big screen. Obviously, there's been a lot of reverberation around the Animorphs community about this. It is dreadful news because they wrote the books and they know what Animorphs is all about. They know all the subtle nuances and all the character development stuff. You remember the ghost writers? Do you know why people criticised the ghost written book so much? It's because it wasn't the original authors. Sometimes the message just wasn't quite right. Look at the Animorphs TV series. The authors weren't involved in that, and we know how much of a travesty the Animorphs TV series was. Let's just be thankful that no matter how bad this movie may end up being, it will not be as bad as the TV series. I can pretty much guarantee that. I don't think there's a chance in hell that it's going to be as bad or worse than the TV series, because at least we'll probably get some decent Andalite CGI or something, at the very least. Surely. We can only really have a guess at what the decisions were that Michael and Catherine felt they weren't involved in. He posted something about Artemis Fowl or something, a link to an article. And it was all about how these decisions were made, something about like aging the kids up and whatever. And I think he had some sort of vague indication that it was similar sorts of problems to these. So what could be going wrong here? We have to sort of speculate, because they haven't said that decisions were made wrong. They've said that decisions were made without their involvement. There's a distinction there. So what's probably happening is Picture Start is looking at Animorphs as a series, and I suspect they're trying to take the best bits, or take some vital bits that they want to throw into a movie. And maybe Michael and Catherine looked at that and thought, that's not how we would have done it. We don't feel like we're involved anymore. We're going to take a step back. That's my speculation. I could be vastly wrong. The problem with doing something like that is it could just be another Hollywood thriller-thon, Michael Bay, bloody, I don't know. I don't watch many films. But another hour and a half of, let's just throw all these crazy things at you and pretend we're writing a story. Because unfortunately, I think that's what happens a lot in Hollywood these days. It's all about explosions and crazy things happening, but never about the subtle nuances. And we all know that Animorphs is about subtle nuances. That's one of the big things Animorphs is about. And if we lost that, then that's a key component of Animorphs that we lose. Remember, the TV show barely dealt with nuance either, and look how that turned out. It was crap. We really can only speculate, so I can't go too much more into that. What I will say is, don't lose hope. Do not lose hope. These people at Picture Start, they're not going to go out there hoping to make a bad movie. That's, as far as I know, that's never their goal. They may end up making a bad movie. They may surprise us. They may surprise Michael and Catherine. They may come up with something genius. They really could. Look at Stephen King and The Shining. Stephen King was not involved with the creation of the Shining movie. You remember that horror movie with Jack Nicholson? turned out to be, in my opinion, the greatest horror movie of all time. Stephen King hated it, but it turned out to be glorious. And yeah, fair enough, Stanley Kubrick was doing it. I wish Stanley Kubrick could do Animorphs. I don't think that's going to happen. Is he dead? I don't know. But just because this sort of thing happens does not automatically mean it's going to be bad. It really doesn't. The Shining being a perfect example where the author wasn't involved and he didn't like it, but it was gorgeous. That movie is a shining beacon of brilliance among a slog of horror shite. We need to put this movie into perspective. We as Animorphs fans, we want to be catered to, but we cannot lose sight of what the aim of this movie is. What is the aim of having an Animorphs movie? We know the Animorphs series. Yeah, great. We want to see our favourite scenes or our favourite characters played out on the big screen. But what is the point of the Animorphs movie? What's my thoughts behind the Animorphs movie? Do you know my biggest fear as an Animorphs fan? My biggest fear is obscurity. My biggest fear is that this series that I have grown up to love will cease to be remembered. And I remember back in the days of the Animorphs fan forum, I hated the last few days of being on that forum because the place was so empty and nobody was talking, and it just felt like the Animorphs series was dead for good. There's been a revival. There's been a serious revival, and I'm so happy to see Animorphs fans talking about the series and remembering the good parts of Animorphs. What I want from this movie is that we keep that revival going. And not only do we keep that going, we bring new fans into the fold to read the book series and inspire a new generation of Animorphs fans to keep this series going for as long as possible. Because I will be very sad the day when Animorphs becomes just a footnote in history. That's why I'm so happy that this graphic novel came out that you should most definitely buy and give to your friends and family at Christmas. Made by Chris Ryan, a brilliant adaptation. I'm so happy that that came out. Even though I don't read graphic novels. The reason I bought that, and the hardcover version, I want to see Animorphs thrive. That is my goal. And I'm sure that's Catherine and Michael's goal as well, to see a bustling Animorphs community, producing content, making people happy with the story of Animorphs. An Animorphs movie, to me, at this stage, is an advert. Not to me. Granted, I want it to make me happy to see some of my favourite characters and aliens on the screen done in a well-done way to erase the memories of the TV series. But the Animorphs movie is going to be trying to bring in new fans. It's an advertisement. And I just hope Picture Start get it right, because the one thing that can go wrong with this at the moment is that it lends Animorphs to an obscurity-based future. If it becomes that bad that people see it, give it a low rating, and Animorphs' name is tarnished, that is a possibility. That is a possibility. And Michael and Catherine having nothing more to do with Animorphs, it could make that happen, but it could be that little bump that Animorphs needs just to keep it going for another generation. That is what I'm hoping for. What I'm hoping for is that it's a huge success and we have this influx of new fans and we get merchandise, we get a TV series, we get all of that, and Animorphs becomes one of the greats. Not the great something, just one of the greats. That's what I want. I will be happy if the Animorphs film comes about and we get some good merch to go alongside it, and we get the fan base with a new influx of people who keep it going, and Animorphs is then able to, even just if it's just sluggishly, just produce new content going forward in whatever form or another. Can Picture Start do that without the help of Michael Grants and Catherine Applegate? It's possible. Do not lose hope. There are people out there sending letters to Picture Start. I don't think that's wrong. I think it's a hopeless endeavour because I think the decision's been made now. It's fair enough to try. I think it's fruitless. Could be wrong. Prove me wrong, please. There are people saying they're going to boycott the movie. I don't think that's right, because then you're only helping for Animorphs to just go down the drain. I think we have to support this. Even without Michael Grant and Catherine Applegate, we have to support this if we want Animorphs to continue. Because if we deliberately make the movie a flop, that's it. That's it for Animorphs. Nobody's going to touch it. Do you honestly think if Netflix comes up and they see that the fans abandoned this movie and doomed it to obscurity, they're going to take the risk? Do you honestly think that? Or if we get all the fans to rally behind it, even if the movie's not a success, we can say we're Animorphs fans and we're all together and we want you to produce something better than Picture Start made. What are Netflix going to say if they see a fan base that aren't going to back it? What are they going to do? They're going to shelve it. They're just going to kick it out. We as Animorphs fans need to stand with this. We need to make the best effort we can to make this a success. And by jumping ship on a project that hasn't even left the ground yet, what sort of message are we sending to the world? We're showing a message that we don't believe in ourselves and the people that want to help us. Because let's face it, are Picture Start going to do this for your average Joe? Or are they going to be looking at the Animorphs fan base and saying there is a fan base for us here? What happens when Picture Start looks at half the fan base boycotting? They might just say, well, fuck this then. Nothing for Animorphs. And they're going to talk to all their buddies in Hollywood or wherever, New York, and say, don't touch that, because their fans will just moan at you. We need to back this. We really seriously need to back this Animorphs movie if we want our community to survive. It may turn out to be shit. It may do. But are you seriously saying that there's no chance that this could be a success? I'll leave that up to you. This has been the Animorphs channel. Remember, Chris Grimes' graphic novel, buy it for your family and friends. Read my fan fiction, Animorphs New War. There's plenty of these, and it's online. There's a link below. And join us on the Animorphs Discord, where today, Saturday, at 9 PM GMT, we'll be having a meetup, an Annie Meet, where we usually get between 8 and 10, maybe up to 15 of us, chatting Animorphs or doing Animorphs-based things. We've got a cook-off coming on November 21st, where we're all going to show off the Animorphs-themed drinks and food items that we've created. It's going to be a blast. Come join us on the Animorphs Discord. Links in the description. I shall see you all next time. Happy Animorphing. That was a shit ending line, wasn't it?